you're under the age of 13, you shouldn't be on YouTube. Go and watch Power Rangers or something. No, seriously, every season is on Netflix in some countries. Power Rangers SPD is a decent kids show, and I say this with minimal nostalgia. I was initially hooked by the premise of aliens living alongside humans on Earth, and they portray this well. It's clear that they put a lot of effort into the visual design of this season. The cast also have great chemistry, and there's a lot of moments that are genuinely, unironically funny.
Emperor Grum, the leader of the Trubian Empire.
Ew, a serious contender for one of those makeover shows.
But it's important to recognise that something you like isn't perfect. The characters constantly point out the obvious.
The door!
You don't say.
Oh no, the base is transformed!
You don't say.
It's turning into the Megazord!
You don't say. Wormhole is full of plot holes, and most episodes in the latter half of the season feel like they're going through the motions, even by formulaic kids show standards. However, there's a far more substantial issue I have with SPD, and it's a pretty unpopular opinion. But before we go any further, I'd like to give you some warnings. Firstly, this video focuses on some of the last episodes of the season, so obviously there will be spoilers. Secondly, and more importantly, this will be the first overwhelmingly negative video on my channel. While it will still be jokey in the same vein as Indigo riffs on things, I'll also rant a lot. Thirdly, I apologise for the quality of the footage in this video. This isn't a problem with my ripping software, this is how my DVDs actually look. With that out of the way, my substantial issue is the way the female Red Ranger was handled. Back when I was a kid, I took for granted that the Red Ranger was always male and didn't question it. Until 2018, I thought that female rangers could only be pink, blue or yellow, so it was mind-blowing to learn that there was a female Red Ranger during my childhood that I never knew about. Earlier that same year, I'd only watched the first 3 episodes of SPD, but learning about this made me want to watch the whole season and got me into Power Rangers for real. The more I watched it, the more I came to tolerate its flaws. So what's the issue? Let's start from the beginnings. Something that always stood out to me about the first episode of Power Rangers SPD was this exchange.
Cadet, if I was to appoint Sid as Red Ranger, would you follow her into battle?
Sir, she's a girl.
When I first saw this, I thought it was a light-hearted jab at franchise convention and nothing more, but it turned out to be really subtle foreshadowing. Throughout the entire episode, it's made clear that Sky wants to be the Red Ranger, then in the next episode, this happens.
Blue? I'm blue?
For those of you out of the know who don't care about spoilers, let me fill you in. The heroes of Power Rangers SPD are called the B Squad, and they're the backup for a team of supposedly elite Power Rangers called the A Squad. In episode 3, the A Squad are lured into space and unceremoniously defeated off-screen by Emperor Grum, the villain of this season, who wants to get rid of the Earth's protectors as part of his elaborate revenge plan against the mentor, Doggy Kruger, who cut one of his horns off. In the 4th episode, the Red Ranger sends back a distress call.
Come in, SPD! Come in, SPD! We've been overrun! It's a trap! We're receiving heavy... What? Now coordinates at 5.0!
Notice anything off about that voice? Way back when this episode first aired, a user on Ranger Board named Wes Jansen figured out that if you speed it up slightly, it sounds like this.
Come in, SPD! Come in, SPD! We've been overrun! It's a trap! We're receiving heavy... What? Now coordinates at 5.0!
He used this as proof that the A-Squad Red Ranger was a girl, but no one believed him until the end of Resurrection, the last episode before the 2-part finale, where it turned out that he was right.
You're a girl!
Oh my gosh, Jack, you can't say that in 2025! Greg Aronowitz, the executive producer for SPD, has said in several interviews that he made the heroes of SPD backup so he could tell a story about them proving their worth. When asked what he could do to make the season stand out, he suggested making the main Red Ranger a girl, but when Disney and Toei both said no, he decided to make the other Red Ranger a girl instead. Remember, SPD aired in 2005. If it came out today, this would make headlines and burn the internet down. Sentai footage notwithstanding, I wonder how people would have reacted if Jack had been a girl back then. Red's name is Charlie, by the way. It's only mentioned in the end credits, and everyone officially involved with Power Rangers seems to have forgotten that she has a name. Also, SPD was the perfect season to introduce the first female Red Ranger. Of course a future where aliens live alongside humans would be egalitarian in other ways. Unfortunately, it's all downhill from here. Have you ever seen a plot twist that you can tell was planned from the start, but it feels like the writers didn't know how to implement it until the end? Because that's what's about to happen. Back at the base, Doggy congratulates the B squad for finding the A squad, then dismisses the former. Jack proceeds to have the biggest hissy fit in the world.
Kidding me? B squad? When was the last time Kruger called us B squad?
Oh no, how dare he want to differentiate you from another group of people? Why are they treating this like it's a massive betrayal? Just because Doggy doesn't want to talk to you right now doesn't mean he's suddenly abandoning you. Not to mention, we've already been through these beats. At the beginning of Insomnia, the episode that comes immediately before this one in some listings, Doggy says that if the A squad hadn't been captured, they would have beaten Grum by now, which causes the B squad to worry that Doggy has rejected them. At the end, he realises that the A squad suck anyway and the B squad have nothing to worry about. It seems like the writer of Resurrection was unaware of that, so everyone feels out of character in this scene.
I don't like it any better than you, Jack. None of us do. But we knew that if A Squad returned, this was going to happen.
That doesn't mean we have to like it.
Wow, you guys are selfish. If anyone should have a fear of being replaced, it should be them, not you. What would happen if the A squad hadn't turned out to be evil? Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself.
You'll be coming with us, Commander Kruger. You have an appointment with Emperor Grum.
Okay, I'll give them credit where it's due. This cliffhanger is very dramatic. And yes, this was foreshadowed. In the first episode, which is flashed back to in this one, Bridge senses that the A squad are evil. Some people interpret this to mean that the A squad were double agents since they joined SPD, but my interpretation is that Bridge sensed their potential to turn evil. Despite this, the twist completely falls apart if you think about it for a few minutes. What were the A squad doing this whole time? If Grum had them under his thumb for the entire season, why didn't we hear about it sooner? I can only think of two hints throughout the season. The first is in SWAT Part 1, where it's implied that the A squad killed everyone on an SPD base on another planet, but it's never followed up on. The second is at the end of Missing.
I do not need them yet. In time, I will call upon them, and when I do, the Rangers will be destroyed from within.
I'll say more about that second one soon, but for now, let's get to the next episode. At the beginning of Endings Part 1, the A squad have taken Doggy to Grum's ship. How did they get there? Who even knows? And dear dog, do I have a lot to say about the scene that ensues.
Kruger, how does it feel to be betrayed by your own Rangers?
These are not Rangers. A real Power Ranger must be true of heart. All those years of training and you have learned nothing.
Grow up, doggy. Everyone wants to be on a winning team.
Where do I even begin with this line? First of all, the A squad act really immature in this episode. No adult tells another adult to grow up. Second of all, you're in Power Rangers! The good guys always win! How stupid are you? Third of all, this is literally the only motivation the A squad get. I have to commend Gina Varela for being able to say this with a straight face. While we're here, I'd like to point out that the other A squad Rangers do nothing in this scene.
And when the Earth falls, you shall be ruling alongside me, as promised.
Because that doesn't sound like he's buttering you up at all. Throughout the series, it's been shown that Grum gets people to work for him by promising them things. He promised Broodwing money and Mora eternal youth, but he also goes back on both of those promises. He turns Mora back into an adult for about a third of the series, and elsewhere in this finale, which I won't be covering in detail in this video because it's not relevant to my point, Broodwing rebels against Grum because he's not getting paid enough. What I'm trying to say here is that these highly trained space marines would have to be complete and utter morons to not realise that this is an obvious lie and he was probably planning to kill them when this was all over. I know nothing comes from this throwaway line, but still, the original female Red Ranger, everybody, easily manipulated by a male villain.
There are still people willing to do anything it takes to protect the Earth.
Who? That pathetic bunch of losers, your B squad? Please.
Careful, Charlie. With language like that, you might get censored on Treehouse TV. In all seriousness, Why did the A Squad hate the B Squad so much when they've only just met each other?
Don't underestimate them. They've been a great annoyance to me.
See? He gets it.
That's because they've never faced the best of the best. Let us take care of them.
No!
Do it.
And that's all we get. The A Squad share literally 1 minute of screen time with the guy they've supposedly been working for all season. They never mention him again, and he never mentions them again. The A Squad might as well have been a third party for the amount of difference that would make. And then we get the most frustrating scene I've ever seen on television. Back at the base, the B Squad are still moping, and then they're summoned to the command centre.
Rangers, we need your help.
Why? We're just the lowly B Squad. Why don't you ask the amazing A Squad to help?
So how did you know you were supposed to come here in the first place? Then Charlie calls them up on Skype because she can do that, apparently, and challenges them to a fight in the abandoned warehouse district, and dear dog, this plot point is stupid.
Rangers, you can't go. It's a trap.
Of course it is. We're going.
What? You know that you're leaving the base under attack, yet you accept this anyway? Why? If we knew what threat the A Squad posed and what they were capable of, this would be justified, since we'd know why they'd need to be stopped as soon as possible. Since we don't know what the A Squad are capable of, and they don't seem to be interested in harming anyone other than the B Squad, it feels like our heroes think that settling a grudge against people they met 5 minutes ago is more important than defending the base. It just feels forced. Also, Graham's line at the end of Missing implies that the writers originally planned for the A Squad to infiltrate the Delta base, spending longer earning the B Squad's trust before their sudden and inevitable betrayal. Can I watch that episode instead?
Just so you know, Commander Kruger told me you're the best he has ever had.
When? More importantly, what's the point in that line? The whole point of this subplot is that the B Squad need to prove that they're better than the A Squad. Since everyone at SPD already has faith in them, who are they proving their worth to, Grum? This just comes off as lip service. And then we get the fight scene. It's introduced with confrontation shots as if the entire season has been building up to this battle, but it really hasn't. The outdoor lighting also highlights how awful the A Squad suits look. Why do they have earmuffs? Why are the chest plates so detailed? Where's the colour? The fight scene that follows isn't interesting to watch. The A Squad toss the B Squad around like waifu ragdolls while Harry explosions light up behind them. Guys, you have guns! Use them! Jack gets it. Meanwhile, in the B plot, night falls as Broodwing attempts to take over SPD. Pity that our heroes are occupied with villains who've been out of sight, out of mind all season. The next time we see the B Squad, they're still getting beaten up. So are we supposed to believe that this fight has lasted for hours? And now we get to the part that everyone praises about SPD, and I don't like it. The A Squad gloat about how they're so much better than the B Squad because B is the second letter of the Latin alphabet. I'm not even kidding.
You're second best.
Second rate and second choice.
You're not even fit to shine our boots.
Charlie, those aren't boots. Those are shin pads. In all seriousness, since both the audience and the heroes know this isn't true, these taunts are meaningless. How about the A Squad taunt them about something that actually matters, like, I don't know, abandoning the Delta base? You may be the A Squad, but we have what you don't. What? Friendship? No! SWAT mode! This time, it's the B Squad's turn to toss around the A Squad like they're waifu ragdolls. Look at Pink! She's not even trying! There's a part where Jack shoots Charlie in the tits, ouch, with his two smaller guns before catching his big gun, so that's cool, I guess. What's more important is what this fight represents. It's supposed to show that the B Squad have grown stronger as a team, but they're separated for the whole fight. Instead of winning through, say, using better tactics, they win because they remembered that they have a power-up and decided to use it. Anyway, after some questionable noises, Charlie summons a Megazord by pressing a button on her arm that makes the same sound as an alarm clock because she can do that, apparently. This is actually kind of interesting. Back in the very first episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, one of Zordon's rules for being a ranger was to not escalate a fight unless their opponent forced them to, which is why the rangers don't just use the Zords as soon as the monster of the week appears. Here, the A Squad are such sore losers that they're escalating the fight without their opponents forcing them to. It's a nice bit of showing in an episode dedicated to telling us how bad they are. However, it also highlights why I found the Megazord battles the most boring part as a kid. They do nothing but reiterate what we just saw with more toys. To cut a long story short, the A Squad destroy the B Squad's Megazord, so they go and get the SWAT Megazord and destroy the Mega Broody-Zord. Whoop-de freaking Christmas.
You can't do this to us. We're the A Squad.
Acting! Then they turn the A Squad into cards, and that's it. No reflection on how we did it. They just toss the A Squad aside like any old monster of the week, and then we move on to the next scene. This is Cars 2 levels of pacing. They're only mentioned one more time at the end of part 2.
I am elevating you to A Squad. Did you hear me? I'm promoting you to A Squad.
No, we heard you, sir. But, well, we talked it over. And you know what? We are B Squad. That's who we are. That's who we want to be.
Maybe the real A Squad was all the friends we made along the way. In all seriousness, it feels less like the B Squad overcame the A Squad, and more like the B Squad made the A Squad redundant. And honestly, this victory just feels so hollow. The problem with the A Squad is that they're all telling and no showing. We're told they're the best of the best. We're told that they've been working for Grum all season. We're told that they suck anyway, but the only one we get to see is the last one. Since we only knew the A Squad at their worst, what does the B Squad being better than them actually mean? It's all just a concept. I finished riffing on the episodes, but I still have a lot to talk about. First of all, I have to ask, what makes the A Squad special? The most heroic thing they ever do is use a Megazord finisher, which any Power Rangers could do by episode 3. Other reviewers have said that they've been built up throughout the season as something for the B Squad to aspire to, but were they? Throughout most of the season, all we hear about the A Squad is that they're still missing, almost as if the writers were procrastinating. I know the feeling. After the first few episodes, everyone refers to the B Squad as the Power Rangers, like they're the only ones. To put this into perspective, our Lord and Saviour Tommy Oliver is talked up in Wormhole more than the A Squad are throughout the entire season.
Better late than never. You guys ready?
Black Ranger, I read all about you.
And I know they can do this better because the show itself does it better. Episode 9, Idol, is about Sky's friend crash landing on Earth after being missing in action for a year, and it turns out that he's evil. We get to see what he means to Sky, or what the other characters think of him and what he's so good at, all in the first quarter of the episode, and it really hurts Sky to let him go. Meanwhile, the A Squad do nothing but stand around looking stoic before they turn out to be evil, so our heroes have no emotional stake in this. Doggy, the only character who has any emotional attachment to the A Squad, barely interacts with them. Secondly, why does the entire resolution of this subplot revolve around Jack? He's the one who decides to fight them, he's the one who gets the one-liner when they turn them into cards, but he never cared about the A Squad. You know who did? Sky. His dad was the original Red Ranger. He seems to idolise Charlie in episode 1, which is never mentioned again, but he lost his first chance to become the Red Ranger because he was sexist. Like Sky, Charlie is arrogant, but unlike Sky, she never got over it. They never interact. I get it, Jack's the leader, and it looks good to have Rangers fight Rangers of the same colour, but at the end of the last episode, Jack quits and Sky becomes the new Red Ranger. Couldn't they have used this as an opportunity to set that up? They could have at least given Sky a throwaway line about how his father would be ashamed of the A Squad or something. Thirdly, the A Squad barely contribute anything to the narrative structure. They're not involved with Grum's ultimate plan at all, which involved getting his minions to steal stuff from Earth. You'd think they would join in with that, but they don't. They contribute thematically as part of Grum's revenge plan, but the emotional consequences of that are so underdeveloped that the characters ultimately feel superfluous. In an interview with That Hashtag Show, Greg Aronowitz said that he wanted the A Squad to have more screen time, but they couldn't afford to pay too many actors, so I understand why they did this, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. On the bright side, Hasbro have already done this plot better in Beast Morphers. The season has two evil rangers, who used to be good, called Blaze and Roxy. Unlike the A Squad, they appear in every episode, giving them time to actually, do villainous things, and they form the emotional core of the show. While Blaze is just generically arrogant, Roxy is the Blue Ranger's ex-girlfriend, and the goal of the first season is to kill their evil clones so the originals will wake up. Also, it's hard to ignore the sexist undertones of the A Squad. The supposedly badass team led by a woman gets defeated and captured by a male villain, ends up being used by him, then gets defeated by a team led by a man. The reason I'm being lenient about this is because I know that various behind-the-scenes factors limited what the writers could do with them, and also because I don't want to dig myself into a hole. So you might be wondering, why am I taking Power Rangers so seriously? First of all, it's fun. Second of all, making this video is cathartic. Back in 2017, I reviewed Cars 2 twice, and said that I became so attached to a minor character that it distracted me from why I came to love the original Cars. I clearly didn't learn my lesson, because the same thing happened to me with SPD. I became so obsessed with the idea of a female Red Ranger, it distracted me from the characters who the story was actually about. In turn, my obsession with SPD made it harder for me to get into other Power Rangers media. I even felt bitter that Lauren Sheba, the second female Red Ranger, was all over the expanded universe during the 25th anniversary, while Charlie remained the same one-note villain she'd always been, until I realised that my hopes that Charlie would become anything but a minor character were unrealistic. In addition, I wanted to clear up some misconceptions about the A Squad. It's often claimed that they were originally going to be brainwashed, even though Greg Aronowitz has repeatedly said that he always intended for them to be evil of their own volition. And so that was the tragic tale of the original female Red Ranger, a glorified monster of the week, doomed to forever be remembered as little more than a footnote in discussions of far more interesting characters. I've had these feelings ever since I finished watching SPD in autumn 2018, and I'm glad to finally get them off my chest. Thank you for listening to me, and until next time, stay interesting.